What's up, everybody? You're back in here, Pro Football Pod. Hulk, Coach, Austin, hanging out with you. Chicago Bears preview. What's up, everybody? What up, fellas?
What
you ready to get into the Windy City Titties?
Windy City Titties. Were you in that league with him too? With Haglund? Shout out Eric Haglund
That's the only
right
reason
there.
I know that name.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Shout out. Hey, by the way, he's in the dynasty as well. So, welcome back, Chicago Bears, talking about some preview action. Austin thinks that the Bears are going to finish 1-16.
Why do you always have to say what I'm gonna what I think? Why can't I ever just put out what I think?
Austin.
You know.
Before we get started, what do you think that the Bears finish?
Austin?
Well, no. We'll save that for the end. Little tease for you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because we'll give an over/under record prediction for them at the end of this. Which, hey, my divisional prediction wasn't far off based on these record predictions. I'm just saying.
Make sure you listen to the Vikings for that one. So they did add Keenan Allen. They did add DeAndre Swift. They drafted Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze in the first 9 picks. They added a lot of skill positions. I think that their skill positions are solid. Honestly, from a efficiency and like a spreading out the wealth standpoint, they're probably the best skill position group in the division. Like, there's not a better receiving core whenever you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze, and you have Cole Kmet, and then you get Swift and Herbert running the ball, and they still have Roschon Johnson from last year that was a rookie.
Aside from San Francisco, I think they're the second best skill position group in the conference.
Yeah. It's
like
really easy to
NFC.
see that. So the only issue I have is that they didn't draft more offensive linemen early. I think Rome Odunze helps them whenever they lose Keenan Allen. But man, I would have loved for them to have taken the second tackle off the board and started to short their own line.
Braxton Jones has come along. Like, yes, he was a 5th-round pick in 2022, but he's been solid. Tevin Jenkins, 2nd-round pick for him in 2021, has been solid. Darnell Wright was their 1st-round pick last year. Obviously, he was a rookie, so he's only going to hopefully go up. And then Ryan Bates, their center. They've got a decent O-line. Like, right guard is a position of weakness there. But for me, I feel like it's kind of, you're just nitpicking at that point. Like, if their offensive coaching staff can figure it out and not go into the same things with Justin Fields of, hey, go be an athlete and just figure it out. Because with Caleb, it's, hey, we saw the highlights, just go do that every time. And that's just not going to work in the NFL. We've seen it time and time again. So if they can get him into more of a legit running offensive scheme, I don't see why this offense can't be productive. Caleb is going to have his woes as a rookie quarterback. But, I mean, like I said, you don't see many holes on this offense.
So let's start talking about ADP a little bit. All right. Well, Austin, what were you going to say?
They definitely filled a hole with their punter, picking him up in the 4th round.
Bro, no, I don't want to hear.
With all the talent in the draft, that's what you're going to get.
I don't want any.
They're definitely a team that's.
Do not throw any nonsense on Torrey Taylor out here. Torrey Taylor,
4th round.
Torrey Taylor is a dog.
4th round.
The guy, let me put it this way. The guy punted for more yards than Iowa threw for last year. Like,
that's Iowa,
punt god Matt Ariza, how all the hype was on him a couple years ago before, the BS rape allegations. This dude is right there. Like, Torrey Taylor is amazing. I wanted the Dolphins to draft this guy, but not in the 4th round.
Right. I think that
the way he can flip a field for them.
You're asking me about JJ's yards. I think his yardage is going to be up there as well, at around 3,500.
You're saying that because they're going to be punting so often.
They're going to be punting so much.
I love that Caleb said that. Like, I mean, I love that they drafted this guy in the 4th round, but we're not going to need him that much. It's like, yo, dude, shut up and play some football first. All right, so
Oh,
let's talk
yeah.
about some ADP real quick. So Caleb is quarterback number 17, 105 overall. Not too far. He's a rookie, so I think it's a little bit higher than I would want. I think that there's some other second tier guys that I might be more interested in just because of the safety. Swift, 23, running back, 78 overall. Herbert 54 running back 170 overall. I think that number should be further apart. I think that Swift is going to have more of an RB1 instead of it a 1A 1B type of scenario, which is what that draft capital looks like. Now DJ Moore 18th wide receiver 30 overall and Keenan Allen 25 and 47 overall. If this team is an offensive powerhouse, those are the two steals of the draft. Like from this team's perspective, those two getting third round a number one wide receiver in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen has always been undervalued because of injury. Those will be steals. Now,
He's just gonna stop getting injured now because he's in Chicago.
yeah, there you go.
He's younger now, he's less brittle.
He's just gonna end up using. He's gonna abuse the slot, and he's
easy to
going to
play
be a
goal.
PPR monster, which
Yeah.
he has been. But I agree, he's been one of the more underrated guys, and for some reason, like he hasn't played it down for him yet. But him just getting traded to Chicago is just all of a sudden like making his outlook skyrocket compared to what it used to be. I love Keenan Allen's game. Roma Dunze, the number 36 wide receiver, number 75 overall. 7th round for Rome, who is a guy that can come in and give you wide receiver 1 type of production if one of those other two guys go down. It's enticing, but you better have 2 wide receivers drafted before him.
2 or 3, man. Rome scares me the most. Getting him in the 7th round means that, like, if you're smart and you get 2 or 3 top tier guys in the first 4 rounds, which is honestly such a good strategy. Running backs come and they go throughout the season every year. It's impossible to predict injuries. I would be okay with Rome then. I've already got my.
That's in the flex position you're putting him in your draft.
No, I'm drafting him for the safety
blanket. Issue is where he's being drafted is a flex spot.
Yeah.
I'm drafting
so that's
him
where I'm not comfortable there.
because
I want
Keenan Allen is going to miss games. It's a foregone conclusion. And if he's able to come and turn on as a receiver, Devontae Adams took 3 years to really develop into the guy that we needed. So in a lot of ways, I think Rome will take 1 or 2 years, but he's a little bit older than Devontae was coming into the league. Like
I kind of see like a Jackson Smith at Jigba kind of year for him. I mean, he's maybe not going to get wrist surgery in the beginning of the year, but that did hurt Jackson.
I'd have to look it up, but I think this is about where JSN was going in drafts last year, somewhere around this, give or take a round or 2.
Which was a bit of an. He was honestly way too much of a risk last year.
It was a disappointment last year.
If you drafted him, like he had a couple good games at the end of the
Dynasty,
season.
He's still good value, but
yes,
in fantasy it wasn't.
In Dynasty, I think Rome is easily a top 6, 7 pick. Like you have to look to the future and see that they're gonna utilize this guy. They took him in 9th overall, but in a redraft league, I'm a little bit afraid of him this year. There are some rookie receivers that I'm really excited about, and we'll talk about them when we talk about their previews. But Roma Dunze is not one of them. Now Cole Kmet, 15th tight end. If you haven't watched the Vikings episode, watch it because we talked about Hawkinson being the 13th tight end off the board. Cole Kmet being 15 is even a better value than Hawkinson. We love saying it. Rookie quarterbacks love tight ends. Cole Kmet is already a solid receiver. He's not going to block for you. He's not going to make their running game a lot better, but he is going to receive the ball for them. And I think that his touchdown counts at least 8 this year. Like, if he doesn't get 8 touchdowns, he doesn't have value, but I think he does. That's 1 every 2 weeks. I would love that.
Well, Gerald Everett was actually like a end zone magnet.
And they did bring in Gerald Everett, so that makes you wonder how much he'll cut into it. But like Coach said, in the 13th round, who you're drafting him as your tight end 2. Like, if you wait until the 13th round to draft your tight end 1, that's on you anyways. Like, we can't help you at that point.
It's not bad if you know how to roll through different tight ends throughout the year.
That's a good point, Austin. Like,
no,
you really have to play the waiver wire.
I've done those draft strategies to where whenever you have a defense or a kicker or a tight end, I just punt all 3 of those positions till my last 3 picks and just abuse the waiver wire every week.
Yep.
Exactly.
But I'm also one of those to where I like to set them and forget them and just not have to touch my lineup. So,
and that's not Cole Kmet.
The potential of their offense. This is one to where it's a little wait and see. On their defensive side, I don't really like what they did. Like, you've got Montez Sweat that you brought in last year. Like, they brought in Kevin Byard, traded for him from Philly. So you know, sure up that safety spot a little bit.
But that's his third team. He used to play for Tennessee. Like, he was good for Tennessee, but he's obviously not good enough to hold on to.
Yeah, I don't know what went on in Philly. Re-signed Jalen Johnson. Tariq Stevenson was a nice surprise for them last year as well. I would have liked to see them do more at edge. I love that they traded back in after all their picks were taken into the 5th to take Austin Booker from Kansas. He was somebody that we were mentioning constantly during our mock draft episodes. So I do love the development that he can give you there. Not a huge fan, but then again, their defense to me last year was solid. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Like, it was just middle of the road, in my opinion.
I mean, from an efficiency standpoint, looking at PFF, they had the worst run defense. They had the worst overall defense. Their pass rush was the worst. The only thing that they were very solid in was coverage, but they lost Kendall Fuller and their best coverage guy.
They started turning up. They really were turning up at the back half of the year.
Yeah.
So those numbers are a little skewed, and they got rid of both their best linebackers. Just gave them away for free.
I mean, letting Kendall Fuller go in free agency is going to hurt them so much. The Dolphins are so happy about adding this guy as a cornerback too. He's been very solid throughout his career.
Kendall Fuller came from the Commanders to Miami. Kyle Fuller, his brother, played for the Bears. So, yes, but that's where I was saying Tariq Stevenson, their 2nd-round pick from Miami last year, he was a rookie. So, as a rookie season goes for a corner, he played very solid. And so, like Austin was saying, towards the back end of the year, that defense started to figure it out, turn it on a little bit. I love their linebackers. I love Jaquan Brisker. Like, the interior of their defensive line leaves a lot to be desired. And depending on Austin Booker's development, you need another edge opposite of Montez Sweat. Overall, let's go ahead and get into it. Over-under on the wins is set at 8.5 via FanDuel.
I'm going under.
I'm going under there.
Yeah. See, I think it's over. I think they finished 9-8, and I think the Bears make the playoffs. I think they make it as the 7th seed wild card, and I think the Bears make the playoffs. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw the stamp on that.
Too much hype on this team right now.
What's your Caleb Williams prediction, season-long stats, Justin?
Season-long stats for Caleb Williams.
You think he breaks the curse year 1?
Staying healthy.
I mean,
I was about to say, what's the record for?
They've never thrown for 4,000 ever.
I know that, but what's the record?
Probably 38, if I had to guess. I think that I saw something somewhere that it was like 38-81 or something like that.
It's a tough city to throw the ball in.
Let's see. We're going to get this pulled up here.
It's actually getting worse. If you pay
All
attention.
right. So, single season.
Global warming.
We've got this. This is behind the scenes production value for everybody involved. Just 3,838 yards.
38. All right. So I gave him an extra 50.
Okay. So I was going to say 3,800 yards is where I was going to put like his over under at was 3,800 yards. You don't think he breaks
the curse year 1.
I don't think he goes 4,000 in year 1, but I do think I want to say he's going to throw 22 touchdowns. Because it is a rookie year, how much are they really going to lean on him in this first year?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, and I'm going to say 8 interceptions because I do think he risks it a little bit, but I think he's got enough around him to where he doesn't necessarily have to.
What about his rushing? Do you think that this guy's over 500 rushing yards, over 5 touchdowns on the season?
I think you're looking at and Russell Wilson's one of his most efficient seasons. He only rushed for 350 yards. Okay. I see about 300 to 400 rushing yards, 4 to 5 rushing touchdowns. He's going to run and pick up yards when it's available, and he can. But if the 40-yard pass is down the field, he's going to throw that instead.
So last question. If he hits all of those stats, do you think that the value at quarterback 17 is there? Are you taking him in the 10th round as the 17th quarterback off the board? You've already got your guy. So now if he ends up being CJ Stroud in the second half, then you can start him and you're happy, but you don't need him.
So, yes, because within that range of yards, touchdowns, interceptions, you're looking at what Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, Sam Howell, Jalen Hurts, you're looking in those range as far as production. Now, Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are outliers because their rushing production is so high. But if you're saying in the 17th round, or 10th round, you're getting Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, Baker, CJ, Jordan Love, you're going to take that.
I'm taking all of those guys before Caleb. And part of it's because he's a rookie. Part of it's the unknown. Part of it, I know that
those guys are getting drafted before Caleb.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, all of those guys are absolutely going off my board.
Well, where Caleb's being drafted, to me, that tells me he's being drafted as a QB2.
Yeah, easily.
So in a 2-quarterback league, if he's my second quarterback, I'm perfectly fine with it. In a super flex league, if he's my second quarterback, I'm perfectly fine with it.
That's harder for me. In a super flex, I'd rather him be my third quarterback. I'd rather have already found, because I don't like to take my second quarterback at 12th overall. I'd rather get the top 4 and top 8 for my first 2 quarterbacks in a super flex, because then I know the position's taken care of, and then I'll take Caleb way later when everyone's stopped looking at quarterback for a little while. But man, it's for me, it's my rookie bias. I have a lot of rookie bias, which I'm getting over as these years go on, and you have more and more rookies that pop off. But number 1 overall pick rookie to a team with amazing skill position, but substandard offensive line, it leaves me a lot to be desired. I'm not super certain.
With a weak defense.
With a weak defense too. They're going to be playing from behind a lot.
Might be
and what does that give you?
It gives you good fantasy points. You're right. Fourth quarter points are going to be there.
We're looking at it from a fantasy perspective. And so I do see what you're saying in a super flex. You're going to take your top quarterback pretty early. You're going to take your second quarterback decently quick behind him, if that's where your value is. Yeah. Now, if you're a type of guy to where, kind of like me, to where I solidify that first one, I get a Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then I can fill out my roster a little bit and roll with a Caleb Williams as my quarterback too. If I'm going out there with Pat Mahomes and Caleb Williams as my 2 quarterbacks on my roster, I'm good with it.
I got lucky in my Superflex dynasty that Gardner Minshew stepped up the way that he did last year, because I had Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson. And for the first 3 weeks, I was the 2 best quarterbacks in football, and it was easy. I was just running through everybody. But then whenever Gardner Minshew came in, he had a couple of, sub 10-point games, and that type of shit sucks. And I think rookie quarterbacks, you're going to see that. He's not going to get pulled. They're not going to pull him for 17 straight games.
No, Brian Flores isn't the head coach.
Yeah, there. Love that. So, I think under 8 wins. I think that they're maybe right at 8. If we're being real, 8
I
and
think
9.
they go 9-8. I think it barely clears, but I think they go 9-8 and snatch that 7th wild card spot or that 7th seed.
No, sir.
I would be more sure that the Vikings are going to. I think the Vikings have a better roster. They don't have a better skill position group, but like in general,
I know the numbers might not show it necessarily, but I think the Bears defense is better than the Vikings defense. And my whole thing too, though, and I think I know where y'all's argument lays too. If you took the Vikings coaching staff and gave them to this Bears offense, it would be elite and there'd be no questions about any guy's productivity.
None at all.
It's the questionability of the Bears offensive coaching staff and what they're going to be able to do for Caleb this year. They tried very hard to get Cliff Kingsbury before he ended up going to the Commanders because Cliff has that relationship with Caleb coming from USC.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way. We'll see. But we appreciate you guys staying in here with us. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. Hit us in the comments what you thought, if you think how the Bears are going to do this year. Bears fans, we love you. Don't hate us on it too much. Bear down. Rawr. Rawr.
Duh, Bears.
Paint your nails, pussies.
Da bow. Da bows.